Hi, my name is Donna Stanley with Endless Mountain Labradors, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about tumors and fatty tumors, warts, skin tags, all the above. I wanted to just give you a couple of the different kinds of tumors and when to know when a lump or a bump is scary and when to not worry, okay? So one of the things that I'm gonna say first of all is most times that you see a lump or a bump, it's gonna be benign, but just to be safe, always go to a veterinarian, have them check it. They're also gonna wanna measure that and keep an eye on it, as will you, because if it starts to change or it gets larger, that's when you wanna go back into the veterinary office and have a biopsy and make sure it's not a malignancy. Also, a lot of times vets don't want to remove tumors unless they are cancerous. Maybe it's because a lot of times it's an older dog and they're maybe not a good candidate to go under anesthesia. A lot of vets just don't feel right going into something that they consider cosmetic and having the risks that take place when a dog is under anesthesia. So a lot of them don't want to do it. Therefore, a lot of people get upset because maybe they just don't like petting their dog with that gross bump or lump or wart, or it just looks gross, or when they're grooming it, maybe the trimmer or the brush will catch on it. So in those cases, sometimes the veterinarian will just say, if you are in for another routine surgery and they're already under, maybe take that off. Otherwise, they're not really interested in doing that. In that case, there is some options that we didn't used to have before, and my favorite one is essential oils. They work great on skin tags, fatty tumors, and some of these other tumors that we're gonna work through today. And it's because they will actually take them off and you don't have to have the risk of surgery. And you can just get rid of that ugly thing because you just don't like looking at it, you don't like touching it. Also, the other thing that would be a reason a vet would want to take a tumor off is if it's going to affect your dog's range of motion. Say it's on a leg or a shoulder or underneath in an armpit or on the hip or something like that. In those situations, a veterinarian would say, let's just do this because it's going to affect the range of motion of your dog and the quality of life of your pet. So in those situations, they will take that off. Sometimes, and it just depends on the vet. They may just do it for economic reasons. I know a lot of vets feel wrong about doing that. That's a lot of the reasons some of them will not do it. And a holistic vet also will naturally not want to be doing something invasive like that and will want to look for another modality like essential oils as an option first. The other thing that might be a reason to get a tumor or a wart or something removed is if the dog is obsessing about it. Like say they have it on their foot and they're licking and biting and licking and biting, and then it's causing a sore. That in that situation, it is affecting the dog's quality of life, and you would want to go ahead and remove whatever that may be, if it's a cyst or a wart or whatever. The first kind of tumor, and this is just a fancy name for a wart, is a viral papilloma. And they kind of look like cauliflower. They can change in color. They can be many different colors. They are usually a sign that there is a compromised immune system. And it can start as early as a puppy. And it sometimes will progress later in a dog's life because as a dog gets older, its immune system is already suppressed. So sometimes, believe it or not, vets will leave warts on older dogs to be able to measure how their immune system is doing. But in that situation, what you'd want to do is you'd want to add something to the dog's diet, most importantly a supplement, because I don't find that foods have the amount of antioxidants, and a lot of times the antioxidant value is broken down by cooking. So I do recommend a supplement in the form of something like NuVet Plus, which is my favorite. I've recommended and used it for almost 17 years now. Has a super high ORAC value. So that's a great way to bring the immune system up on your pet and therefore also be able to deal with getting rid of it if it's a cosmetic thing, along with the essential oils. So those two would be things that you want to do. Also, You see these papillomas a lot of times, believe it or not. Something that happens when there is over-vaccination happening. They call it vaccinosis. And so a lot of times veterinarians who are holistic will observe this more often and see the relationship. So if you suspect that, what you could do is, instead of just saying, I'm not going to do vaccines anymore, go to a veterinarian, a holistic veterinarian if you can, ask them to check the titers. It takes a little time, it's a little more money, but you can find if your dog already has immunity to that particular thing you're going to have them vaccinated for, and not have to go and vaccinate them every year. So that's one way you could do that. There are some homeopathic remedies as well that some holistic veterinarians recommend, but the easiest and most accessible for people would be the essential oils, and I do recommend Endless Mountain essential oil blends for pets, or Endless Mountain oil blends for pets, and the website would be essential oils and the number 4pets.com, and those are all veterinarian formulated by holistic veterinarians who are aromatherapists. They understand animal physiology and also species appropriate application and proper dilution. So you'll want to make sure if you use essential oils, only use that. Do not use a DIY recipe put up on Pinterest by an oiler mom who's in a network marketing company. Please, please, please don't do this. Veterinarians are seeing dogs coming in all the times who are wounded. They're getting first, second degree burns, or worse yet, death. So be very careful that you use some kind of oil that has been recommended and tested and formulated by a veterinarian. Dog parks are not a good place to go if your dog is susceptible to this papillomavirus, because the virus is something that can be passed from dog to dog. And in my opinion, it's not always this way. In my opinion, if you go to a dog park, basically a lot of those dogs are going to be dogs that are eating probably crappy grocery store food or crappy commercial food, and probably over-vaccinated is my guess. So you want to stay away from those kind of dogs. Don't let your dog sniff and lick other dogs, just to be safe that way. The other kind of tumors or lumps and bumps that you'll find are called sebaceous adenomas, and what they are is basically they're cutaneous warts. They're benign usually. They have oil in them. Sometimes you can express oil from them. It's kind of gross. Also, because of the oil that comes out of them, there can be some scabbing on them. And a lot of times that may be an indication that you might want to move to something like Endless Mountain oil blends. For instance, wound care is one of the ones that would work great for this. Their tumor blend would work good on any of these specific things that we're talking about. The only time people usually have these removed, again, is if the quality of the dog's life is in jeopardy. The next would be, and these are veterinarian terms, so I'm pronouncing them as best as I can, but a Bemonium gland adenomas, and these are sebaceous cysts, very often around the eyes, looks like a sty. Most times they're benign, and most commonly are removed when they start scratching against the cornea, or they grow really large inside. You may see a small amount on the outside, but inside it's really large, and they can really start affecting the cornea, and we don't want any abrasions or anything like that happening. So in that case, a veterinarian would probably want to remove it. If it's small, leave it that way. I have one dog that he tends to get those, and they're just little, like, they look like little white heads, and then they go away. So we haven't really worried about it with him, but we have done some things to up his immune system in the meantime. If your dog starts blinking more with one eye, you know, that's probably an irritation that you want to get it checked out with a veterinarian. Never put essential oils in your dog's or cat's eyes. You can put it around it, and Endless Mountain oil blends are diluted well enough that you wouldn't really have to worry. But I say this because I know there's people out there who got a kit from a network marketing company, and they're putting drops in dogs' eyes and they're burning them, or they're losing their eyesight. So please, please be very careful. Corneal pain can be really intense, so that's another reason that they would maybe want to remove that if it's getting big around the eye. Also, obviously, we don't want to lose the dog's eyesight. These are usually on the eyelids, by the way. Also, sometimes a veterinarian would recommend you go to an ophthalmologist to deal with one of these, and maybe, you know, a specialist. There are canine ophthalmologists, so they may be wanting them to look at it. Sometimes there's some mucus that's around the eye caused by these, another reason you would want to get it removed possibly. And also, if you see it, if you have to schedule an appointment to get it removed, in the meantime, ask your veterinarian for a lubricant that you can put in the eye in the meantime to avoid any of the abrasion that it may be causing until you can get that removed. The other type of tumor is just called a lipoma. We call them fatty tumors. They're benign. They can come in all forms. They're generally very soft and mushy. Lots of times they are not attached. You can feel them. They're floating under the skin. A lot of times, again, a veterinarian will want to at least measure it, put it on a chart, keep an eye on it, as well as you. And also, a lot of times, these fatty tumors seem to pop up in older dogs because as dogs put on weight, they don't just put it on like we do, like around our body in large areas. They actually put it on in glumps. And so we do see it a lot of times in older dogs. It's called glumping, okay? If it's hard and it's under a rib cage or something, immediately get to the vet and have that checked. Again, they're gonna wanna measure it, keep an eye on it. And again, if one of those is in an area of the body that is going to limit the motion of the dog, we want to get it removed. If it's, and a lot of times they'll call this debulking surgery. The only thing about debulking surgery is it'll get rid of that mass for the meantime, and they're going to have to make a really big incision larger than the tumor, and there's no promise that that won't come back. So that's the only thing with that. It is kind of a temporary fix. So again, a very good time to use essential oils, and particularly the tumor blend from Endless Mountain Oil Blends for Pets. So that's just a really quick overview of the different kinds of lumps and bumps. Hopefully you'll find that was very helpful. And please always go to a veterinarian first if you see anything that concerns you at all. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up. And also, please subscribe to our video channel so that you can get all the latest information and all the great instructional videos and the scientific studies and all the latest trends. We'll always try to cover those. Thanks so much and have a great day.